Yep.
Okay, here we go. Wow. Okay, so this topic, drum roll,
Mhm.
the realness of walking the spiritual path.
Yes.
Okay, so spoiler alert, right?
Yeah.
Let's just throw it right out there. Spirituality isn't always pretty or I'll say social media ready,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's messy, it's human, it's lived in the body. Real growth happens in the day to day. It's not like you go have some mountaintop experience, video it with your GoPro for all the world to share it with you,
Yeah.
and then come back down and be the enlightened one. Okay, that might have been a little harsh.
Yeah.
But like, think about it. Like, am I performing my spiritual practice
Mhm.
by taking the GoPro to Ireland or whatever? I mean,
Right.
I had my phone when I went to Ireland on my retreat
Mhm.
9 years ago now. Was it 9 years ago? Dude, hmm, how many years ago? Anyway, it was a while ago that I went on a retreat
Mhm.
and I was taking pictures everywhere. But when I was in these sacred places, why was I taking the pictures? Was I taking the pictures to say, "Hey, look at me in Ireland. I'm at Bridget's,
Yeah.
this, and I'm at this well, and I'm at that well, and I'm drinking the miss." There's a picture of me sitting on this stone at this well, and a well in Ireland is a hole in the ground where the spring water comes up. Okay,
Mhm.
and they're sacred.
Right.
Okay, but there was a rock, and I was sitting on it, and our guide said, "Before you drink the water, you have to offer the water." So there's this whole thing of me pouring the water and then drinking the water. Like,
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
collected the water,
That's
but
cool.
I'm sitting here and I'm in this state. My eyes are closed. I'm like this. I'm freaking cold. I've got this big hat on, layers
Yeah.
all over the place. So the photo takes me back to the experience,
Mhm.
right? We didn't videotape the experience, but I'm like looking at myself in this heightened state of, and I did actually share it as one of my photos when I was coming, when I was posting
Mhm.
of what my retreat was.
Yeah.
So that was a little performative,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
It was. I mean, call myself out on it.
Yeah.
So, ouch.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we wanna share those things, but, we just talked about in the last podcast about meditating and being in that state. It's hard to be in that state when you're in the physical world too, worried about how you look and what people are
Yeah.
gonna see and what they're thinking about.
Yeah.
So, removing yourself from that situation or from that energy
Hmm.
helps you to stay in the energy, which is the real practice.
Right. Right.
But we forget that sometimes because we live in a world of social media and we teach, we share things, we have a
Hmm.
business online. So a lot of times and we're Capricorns, that's where our brain goes to business. We want to
Right.
share these things, we want to teach through moments,
Yeah.
but we have to remember to balance that out.
True. True. And the actual spiritual work is the hard stuff of healing the trauma, letting go of the past, setting stuff down. Like, so I'm moving away from using the phrase letting stuff go because, okay, truthfully, I don't freaking let anything go. Okay. I don't miss much and I don't let it go, but can I set it down?
Mhm,
Can I set it down? I can do that.
mhm. I like that.
Can I pick it back up again? If I choose.
Mhm,
So if I want to carry that stuff around again after I've set it down, that's my choice. But the spiritual work is in the acknowledging what I have to set down, where my growth is, where do I want to go? What is it that I want to do? How do I want to be a better person in this world? And how do I want to bring my gifts forward?
mhm,
Because that's really what your spiritual work is about, owning your purpose and what you're supposed to do here
mhm.
on the planet. And most of us want to make other people happy. And guess what? That's not your spiritual work necessarily.
Right. Or help heal others, which is part of our work, but it's not the core basis, I'm going to say, for most people. It's the Chiron, the
Yeah.
wound healer. You heal through healing your own wounds and then sharing or displaying, I would say more.
Mhm.
displaying how you are operating from a more healed standpoint, not fixed, not, totally reworked,
Right.
but how you did the work and then you're living in that energy going forward. Yeah.
Okay, so spiritual work isn't just so that you can tell other people how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a teacher of things, right?
Mhm.
Of many things,
Yes.
the hardest part is what? The hardest part for you, I'm gonna put you on the spot
And the
because I gotta
hardest
let it come out of your mouth instead of mine. The hardest part in teaching.
in teaching is wanting to fix everybody or help everybody or overextend into their energy, not necessarily my energy,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Well, and see, for me, it's seeing the gifts in someone else. Now, okay, so when you see gifts in other people, it could be their gifts, right? But it could be your own that they're mirroring for you.
That's true.
So, pay attention to that. But seeing gifts that people have that are unrealized or ignored.
And that you may be envious of.
Oh, yeah,
That
definitely.
happens a lot.
Oh, yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah.
Been
So
there.
you're like, dude, why?
I wish I
Right.
could do
And
that.
they're off like, la, la.
Yep, 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 yep. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But the spiritual path is individual. I mean, it really
Mhm.
there are no two spiritual paths that are identical. I can walk along with you for a little while
Yeah.
and we can share experiences. We can even commiserate. We can even wallow
Mhm.
in all the things. But at some point, our paths are going to go in a little bit different direction because your purpose is different than my purpose,
Mhm.
and we live in a culture where everybody wants to be special and you are, right?
Yeah.
But you're special as part of the greater good. So you're part of the greatness. Okay. Your part is essential in the purest form of your gift, your spiritual gift. And so when that's unrealized, that causes other shifts. And we are in a lot of shifts right now.
Yes.
The
Yes.
shift is happening like
Yeah,
it's all over the place.
for sure.
So talk about
The messiness.
the messiness of spiritual work. Like you were going to say something, you were going to share
Oh,
something.
yeah. So we were talking about, like, before we got started, that spirituality isn't just Instagram worthy things. And I was going to say, but I wanted to say it on the podcast and have a honest conversation about it, that I definitely started falling into that loop with the business stuff. I wanted to share like the perfect pictures of the grid and of what's going, curating those Instagram worthy moments, but that's not real.
Yeah.
So I started sharing more, like, I shared the crystal grid that I did on the snow,
Yeah.
the pretty and the perfect, and then I shared the aftermath, which was not pretty and
Well, the
perfect.
melt happened and
Yes.
the crystals went where the crystals
Yeah.
fell
Mhm.
because, snow melts at different rates based on the
Exactly.
sun and
Yeah.
based on the place, the weight of the crystal.
So
And
I
like,
wanted to share that too. I've shared that, the crystals I put out under the full moon, I'll share 2 months later that they're still out.
or the dark cards that show up in a spread that you don't want to own when the deck
Yes.
calls you out. How about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a thing.
Yep. Or
That's a
my messy desk that has crystals and feathers. Who
Yeah,
knows?
my workspace, man, when I
Yeah.
when I try to get a picture of work in progress on my desk,
Yeah.
holy Hannah bananas.
But that's the messy, that's the real, that's the
Yeah.
us doing our daily practice is messy. There's stuff everywhere because we use everything. It doesn't mean that we don't clean it up at some points, but it's not I'm not going to not meditate or not use my crystals because my desk isn't pretty.
Right.
But I don't wanna post a picture of it because it's not pretty.
Yeah,
So that's the outward.
that is. That is. Well, I think, the pomp and circumstance of ritual and ceremony, like there are beautiful aspects of ritual and ceremony. So I'm not dissing that. Where I'm going is it doesn't have to always be so grand,
Right.
and it doesn't have to always be shown. Like, that's the other thing.
Mhm.
We live in a world where everything has to be seen on social media or it didn't happen.
Yeah, if you didn't post it, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Yet some of the most beautiful things happen when I don't take out my phone and take a picture, when I'm caught in the stillness or I miss a shot. Like a lot of times when I see one of my feathered friends out in nature,
Yeah,
as soon as you hold up a camera, phone in front of a bird, they split.
changes the energy.
It does. It
They just
totally
wanna come
does.
say hi, and you change the energy into something that it doesn't need to be.
Exactly.
We want to share because we're excited, but do you have to?
And then when you're caught in that moment of trying to capture that picture, it takes you out of the embodied experience of the spiritual practice that you were doing. But it looked good.
Exactly. That's where the balance comes in. That's
Yeah.
where that lies.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so we have to go to the little bit to the dark side a little bit, the
Okay.
shadow aspect
Yeah,
of the
because that's
spirit.
really what this is about.
Yeah. The realness of the walk. Like, let's talk about some of the top ones, like, doubt, self-doubt,
Mhm.
validation, self-valid looking for validation in other people. Like, hey, did you see how cool I was on this thing? Impatience with your progress. Or I don't know, have you ever experienced spiritual burnout?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So pick one. Which one do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know, they're all good.
Oh, and grief. Grief is in there too.
Yeah,
Trauma and grief. Gotta put those there.
I like those. I feel like
You like trauma and grief?
no, I like the topics.
Okay, good. I'm just messing.
Yeah, it's just stuff that doesn't get talked about. So we think of spirituality, we think of pretty, we think of enlightenment and bubbles and rainbows and all the good stuff that
Oh,
comes from
yeah.
it. But what doesn't get talked about as much is the shadow work behind it. That all this enlightenment brings up wounds, it brings up stuff in a different way. It brings up, like I realized I was only sharing the pretty.
Right.
That was a harsh realization. Like, hey, you're speaking all this out loud, but then I think of we've talked about this before, I feel like on the podcast, but everybody was like, "Oh my god, you're doing so much. Oh my god, you're doing so great.
Oh,
You're
yeah, yeah,
killing
yeah.
it." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Listen,
Yeah.
A, I had to balance it out because I was burning myself out. That doesn't get talked about a lot. Like you said, the spiritual burnout, doing too
Right.
much, wanting to do too much. The healing that had to take place, things that I had to let go of in order for that energy to open up and come in.
Right.
There's a lot that I'm doing that I'm not doing now that I was doing a year ago.
Right. And there are a lot of personal stories, right,
Yeah.
that are part of the healing process that we don't necessarily share.
Mm.
Like, I have a long list of things that have happened in my 60 years that are part of making me the spiritual person that I am right now. And they're not pretty. They are not pretty. And they're things that I've had to heal from or heal through or heal with. Some of it doesn't ever go away
No,
and it still lives inside there. And yet I have to live with it. And I have to say, okay, like, how am I going to accept this piece
mm,
of me? Um,
I like that when you're talking about the not letting go, putting
yeah,
it down.
setting it down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Set it down.
And I feel like that's part of that because everything we experience, and we're actually going to talking about this more in the next podcast, but everything that we experience shapes who we are. We're here for a reason and
Hmm.
we have a soul contract with the energy. And
That's a good one. Soul contract.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's part of our path. So if we completely let it go, where does that leave us?
Right. Well, it leaves a void and then something else has to go in there. And I don't know about you, but
Usually that's the unhealed part that it gets attached to and something. Yeah.
yeah. And, I think the impatience of spiritual work,
Hmm.
like that's one, like, I should be further along. I should be higher up the mountain. I should
Hmm.
be able to do this meditation for 6 hours. I should be able to
Yeah.
maybe,
Hmm.
but maybe not. Maybe there's other work that you're supposed to be doing in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, washing dishes can be a spiritual experience,
Yeah.
okay? Cleaning up the yard after the dog can be a spiritual experience. It's not pretty.
No,
You're
but
not
you're
you're not gonna post picking up
cleaning out
dog
the
poop.
crap.
You're not gonna yeah, you're not gonna post it on social media, but
Yeah.
you know what? I am out in nature and I am doing my part and I'm cleaning this up
Mm.
and there is value in that. right?
Mhm.
Okay, that is a really shitty example,
Literally.
literally, but it's true because we don't want people to see that side of us, or acknowledging the parts of ourselves that we don't like.
Right.
Okay, I may love myself. One thing I do not like about myself is my inflammatory, reactionary Aries sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be so silly. It is so silly. It is so absolutely ridiculous. This nice spiritual person here, right, that I claim to be,
Mhm.
lost my bleep this morning trying to get the stupid jar sealer to work. It kept sucking the lid up into the thing
Yeah.
like 5 times. I know that's not like, and I'm like losing my shit and the bad words were coming out of my mouth,
Mhm.
all of them. And I was cussing it. And I'm like, a moment of clarity came over me. And I'm like, this is not really good behavior,
Right.
for like you're losing yourself over, I was
Mhm.
used a different word, over putting a lid on a jar.
Mhm.
Like, and then I'm going, well, what is Aries doing today? I need to I
You
need
know
to
what
get up with
Aries is
Elaine and
doing.
I know what Aries is doing. But I'm like, so there has to be humor in the messiness and the anger
Yeah.
and the stuff of the work, right?
Mhm.
If you can't laugh at your flaws,
Yeah.
your dark side. I
Yeah.
mean, my dark side, man, she is a badass. But that's part of the work.
Y
I don't know how to say it more clearly. Like,
No, it's knowing and recognizing. Like, you know you have these things. You recognize that you have them.
yep,
And are you able to completely let go and stop them? No. But you're able to realize and, like you said, take it in a different energy. I feel like that's the shift in energy. So you could be angry and you could stay angry and reactive all day.
right,
And you may have in the past.
right.
But now you're like, I am being silly. This doesn't matter.
I mean, I was laughing at myself and the F bomb came out so many times at myself. I was
Yeah.
like, are you
This is what's gonna take you out.
seriously? You're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna lose it over a jar? Like, how about like, world peace or something? Can you lose it over that? Can you get a little bit
Yeah.
more? And then, okay, so that is actually something that I'm gonna bring in and ooh, I'm having a hot flash. See, Aries is
Yeah.
coming up and I'm going, ooh. Well, sometimes the work has to be recognized when we're kicking the proverbial dog, right?
Mm,
So it's not the jar that has me, strapped out. It could be the 10 other things that I'm offended by, or I feel are injustice,
mhm.
or I'm worried about,
Yeah.
or, I just got bad news about something or other. I didn't. Okay. I didn't get bad news. But like if, you heard somebody was sick or somebody lost their job or, something's going to be happening in your world and those are sitting on you and yet you're trying to be all love and light. Yeah, I'm dark and twisty too. Like, I can't have the light without the dark. I have to acknowledge where my triggers are, and I have to pay attention to when I might be kicking the dog. I did not kick Fiona.
No.
Okay. But where am I misdirecting my rage, my anger, my frustration, my Aries?
Mhm.
Where do I need to send more intentional appreciation, love, and light? How can I shape living with the practices that we do? Because we practice them. Okay, here's a big thing. We practice them. Why? So we can live them.
Mhm.
Mic drop.
Exactly. That's right on point.
Okay, so walking this path, we've talked about what some of our practices are, but like with all this energy that's coming around,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
what are some grounding practices that we need?
All of them.
Okay. Can you
So, yeah.
can you give some detail there?
Yeah. Obviously, more time in nature, more time connecting
Mhm.
to the earth, but we talk about that a lot. That's very common. For me, one of my again, I feel like we've talked about this before. My main grounding practice is taking showers, clearing the energy, cleansing the energy. And I know that
Mhm.
doesn't seem like earth energy because it's water, but it's still connected. Water is of the earth.
Well, it's washing away, it's clearing.
Yeah.
It's clearing you, and you are, even though you are so airy fairy.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
You are very earthy too,
Mhm.
so, you gotta get the weight of the energy off of you.
Yeah.
So showers, smudging.
Yep. Anything to recalibrate and take you out of the energy that you're in, pretty much like a redirection. What's gonna redirect your energy in, I don't wanna say a better way, a new way, a different way.
Meditation,
Mhm.
we just talked about
We
that,
did, yes, that's a
meditation.
big one.
And then, being so spiritual work and grounding practices, you have to be honest with yourself about what you actually need.
Yes.
Okay. Are you in a grief state? Do you actually know when you need to ground? Can you feel the difference? Can you feel what's going on with your nervous system
Yeah.
when all the stuff around the world is going on? You
What's
know?
yours? What are you feeling that's yours and what's not yours?
Yeah.
That's another big one that can take you out of the energy, out of your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah. Awareness of, yeah, other people's suffering. You can care deeply from an objective place, but when you start taking it on, you have to set that stuff down too.
Mhm.
Not that you don't care.
Right, or that you have to forget it, but if you let it affect your nervous system to the point where you can't function, then you can't function. You're not
Right.
useful, you're not putting action in an inspired way, in an intentional way. You're putting action from a reactionary standpoint, and
Yeah.
there's a difference.
Okay, here's a good one. Discipline in your spiritual practice.
Yes.
Like,
So it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you use it, the stronger and
yeah,
stronger it gets, and you're able to connect better to it.
daily,
Yes. Yep.
daily practices. And the practice doesn't have to be the same thing every day. Like that
No.
gets boring,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I don't walk the same route in my neighborhood every
Yeah.
day.
You take a
Yeah, I take
yeah.
a tour and some days it's good and some days there's cats and bunnies and things that
Mhm.
pull Fiona off the track, but changing it up and changing up the ritual of it. Setting a grid is great, but if you set it and forget it and you let the dust get on it,
You leave it outside for a few months.
you leave it outside. Well, but like, hey, maybe they just needed a rest. Like that is something like, okay,
Definitely
whole
see that.
that's a whole nother conversation about the crystal grids and the crystals needing like
Yeah.
to take five. I put a lot of my pendulums and things away in a box and I forget about them or yours get lost from time to time. And it's that they need a break because they are working. They are working to help us. So, your spiritual tools, you've got to take good care with them too
Mhm.
and set them down when they need a night off.
Yeah.
Although, I keep looking at this pink
Love
right
that one.
behind me
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of going like, yeah, I just want to turn around and talk to the pink crystal behind me. And I can't remember the name of it. So tell me again.
Halite.
It's so pretty. It's
Mhm.
like all little pink little cubes of delicious goodness
Mhm.
right there behind me. And
Yeah.
I keep going, hello.
Pretty much a big salt crystal.
Yeah.
So it's very cleansing, very
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is why it's
Which
right
why
there.
is it there? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. All right. I'll get my I
Focus.
got distracted. I'm not gonna lie, I got distracted by the spiritual tool that is behind me
Yeah.
because that is radiating love and goodness,
Mhm.
right? That is
Yep.
a heart
It
centered.
is.
Yeah. So it's working.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else around walking the real walk and
That I can think of right now. I feel like it's just a loaded topic.
oh, it
So
totally is. It is.
maybe you had some journal prompts.
Yes, thank you. I
Yeah,
have
because
to
I feel
scroll
like
up a little bit here.
I was thinking about those as you were saying them earlier, and that's a really good way to connect into how
Okay.
it's showing up for you.
So the first one, identify one area where your practice feels real and one or versus performative. So identify where your practice feels real versus performative. So are you looking for that validation? Are you, even if it's phoning a friend to say, hey, I just did 60 minutes of yoga, blah, blah, blah practice. And okay. Journal a recent challenge or shadow moment and what did it teach you? Okay. A lot of people think shadow work is like, hey, let's get it done. It's over with. I'm finished. Yeah,
No.
no. So, what's the lesson is always a great question. Observe your body today. Where do you feel tension, expansion, or an energy shift? Like, you know, I find right now I've been leaning on the table,
Mhm.
right? Because I told you when I came in that Fiona was a little spicy on our walk this morning, and I'm feeling the tension in my body from the walk. And I'm like taking these places, but I'm going to feel worse
Yeah,
after
for sure,
sitting
yeah.
for so long and
Yeah.
if I don't pay attention to it. So, also, where do you feel expanded? Can you feel your chakras, your heart center, your head center? You work with a lot of migraines this week. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
how's your
My
how's your
headspace?
how's your headspace?
Probably not great.
Yeah. So are you disconnecting from it because it's a pain place? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And just the awareness of that. And then let's see, choose one daily action to embody your spiritual work physically. So, you know, take it to the mat, so to speak. Like, is it a movement? Are you an ecstatic dance person? Are you a Tai Chi person, a yoga person, a nature walker, cooking, setting grids, moving your feet, listening to music, dancing? We said ecstatic dance, but it could just be dancing in general.
Yeah, it doesn't have to look quiet or look clean. It can be however your energy wants to
Gangster
move.
rap.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay. And then the affirmation, I meet my spiritual path with honesty, patience, and presence. I meet my spiritual path with honesty, patience, and presence. So I'm going to call myself out on that because that patience word is a trigger for me. Okay. I am not the most patient person in the world.
Really?
True. And I don't pray for patience. I used to joke that I don't pray for patience because, God would give me the test because the way you learn patience
Yeah.
is through the challenges. Okay, so
Mhm.
I didn't want any more challenges, so
Yeah.
I stopped praying for patience. So yeah, I meet my spiritual path with honesty, patience, and presence.
Mm.
Pay attention to your spiritual path. Be honest with what you're working with and voice it. Maybe to the trees instead of someone else to witness. All right. Good there?
I think so.
All right. Say it.
Until next time.
Nervous laughter.